Okay, so we have made it here to the A.W. Dozier School for Boys that my daddy was in back in 1959 to 62, where a lot of boys were brutally raped and beaten. We found the actual monument that they put here, which we were looking for, and we had went on the opposite side of the road and found the Boot Hill Cemetery, which I got a little video of, I think, if it took, and some pictures, and it's literally miles away.
Through straight in a straight line, it's probably over a mile away. Yeah, they clearly intended to hide that away.
And it's just so sad. This is the actual White House building where the boys were taken and brutally beaten. Here is what I'm thinking is probably where they had their lunch, because through the broken door you can see lined up tables, and I'm going to walk up there in a moment. And the water tower up there still says AGDSB for the Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys. And the monument here is amazing. We've looked around it, and I've tried to video this once, and it somehow I must have not hit the button twice, and it didn't take. So I had a long video, so I'm going to go through this again. But the detail on the statues here, which are, as you can see, life size, it's really amazing. And who did you say?
Okay, the sculptor is Frank Castelluccio, and he did a fantastic job. I mean, the attention to detail is incredible.
I mean, he captured the sadness in these boys' little faces. I mean, it's pretty amazing. The fear and the beating that they took here.
Even sculpted the blood and the scars into the child's legs. I mean, it's even on the back of his shirt. They've even sculpted in the cuts and the stripes into the shirt.
Right. They had said that these boys would be beaten so bad that their underwear would be, that pieces of their underwear would be embedded into their buttocks, where they would have to go to the nurse and have them dug out by tweezers. We'll read this out loud in a minute, this plaque that they've put here, but I'm gonna go ahead and look at this. So I've got, they've got this little statue here then that's probably, as I read the book, you know, it would talk about how the boys were in line, and you know, the boys tried to be strong and not cry because, you know, they were boys. And but look at their faces, how sad. I know you told me to turn it this way, but like, just very detailed, and it's just so sad. Look, one shoe.
I mean, it's so detailed, and so, I mean, it captures the fear, it captures every wrinkle
Just
in
look
their
at how
skin.
scared this little boy looks.
And one thing I mentioned in the video that didn't take, that I think should be mentioned here, I mean, I know this is not the thing you want your town to be proud of. It's certainly an embarrassment, as well it should be. I don't know who Arthur G. Dozier is, but I hope he's not real proud of his name being attached to this, but it's still, I mean, it's hid off. I know this is where it existed, and this is obviously where you had to put the memorial, but there's no signs to it. We had to hunt.
We had to hunt it. We had to hunt it down.
Yes, we knew where we were going. We knew it was here. We went to the cemetery first. I guess it's so new that maps didn't take you to it exactly. But even still, with us looking and looking, there's nothing really to direct you here. And you had talked to the...
I had also mentioned in the video that I was recording before that I had, on our way to here, I had got out and went to a service station right here in this little town, and the old man working there, probably in his late 60s, which probably would have been, you know, close to my daddy's age, he said, I mean, he would have been close to my daddy's age. He said, y'all are a long way from home, aren't you? And I told him where we were from and told him that my daddy was actually in this school for boys and that we had stayed here to come and see this. And he just hung his head down and shook it. And he said, there's not much left to see there now. This right here from the book, I understood that this is where they would make them lean up against. While they would beat them. They had to, and see they've got it. Yeah, they've got it to where they've got the blood hands stained on there. This is like a doorway that they would make them hold on to while they beat the living crap out of them, out of these boys. And then here, like, okay, this is pretty amazing. I mean, this is like, I mean, this stuff is very well done all the way till, I mean, it's just sad. Look at the blood on the paddle and the blood droppings on these little boys' beds from where they were beaten and had to go back to their bunks. And I guess the fan is just maybe the only cool they had. I don't,
maybe drown the sounds out of them being beat half to death.
Maybe. But that's pretty amazing.
It's a real shame that somebody didn't step in. They never did, and that's the thing. Nobody ever did step in. This was all discovered later on, and something done about it. The school itself, I don't think it closed down to what, 2008 or something.
2011, right? Or 2011. I don't remember the details.
Yeah. So but it was way later than you would think. And,
yeah.
You know, it's.
There's a building back there.
Yeah, and the sheriff's office is somewhere back in here. There's a prison right across the street. It's like, you know, we're just going to put all this stuff around. And I mean, I get, now look, I'm a police officer myself. I understand things are the way they are for reasons, but it seems a little intimidating, really. I mean, it's like, there's nothing here now. We've seen no trespassing signs or nothing, but it certainly has the feel of you ain't supposed to be here.
It does. It really does. I mean, because as we were driving around looking for this part of it, this monument, I felt like that the whole time. I felt like we shouldn't be here, even though there's not the first no trespassing sign. Yeah, and it says public, you know, public property, and it's surveillance 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I understand that's for vandalism, but it also makes you, you know, there's also a sign right there that says, we're watching y'all, you know, don't misbehave or whatever. And again, I get it. I'm a police officer. I've been one for 31 years, but I also understand intimidation when it happens, and it's just not, I don't know. There should be, like, it's a simple thing to fix. You should put up historic markers around saying, hey, this building here is this building here is this. For a few $1,000s, you could put up 5 or 6 of those around and, you know, explain yourselves, state of Florida, because you owe an explanation. It's literally a good, solid mile away.
I mean,
these dead
we came. We should have videoed it. Actually, I wish I had have. It's way. You see that what is or the smokestack or whatever? Mm-hmm. It's way past there where we came from. Like way on past there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna go video inside this little. Oh, you want to? Let's read this thing so we can have this.
The Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys, also known as the Florida State Reform School, the Florida School for Boys, and the Florida Industrial School for Boys, was a reform school operated by the state of Florida in Marianna, Florida, from January 1st, 1900 to June 30th, 2011.
Right.
Like I said, they never did figure it out. Children were sent to the school for serious crimes as well as for minor offenses such as incorrigibility, truancy, and dependency.
I might say right here that my daddy was put here for stealing a bicycle.
Yeah. As early as 1901, reports of abuse surfaced of children being chained to walls and irons, brutal whippings, and involuntary servitude. slavery. That's a fancy way of saying that. Documents maintained by the school recorded 100 deaths through 1960. 2 staff and 98 boys ranging in age from 6 to 18, and found that their families were often notified after burial or denied access to their remains. Like when they killed your kid, you couldn't even come get him.
Or sometimes they didn't even tell you until way after they were dead.
In 1955, the Okeechobee School was opened to address concerns of overcrowding, where similar practices were implemented.
Yeah, that was that one over there, probably.
That's right. Yes.
And it's been closed too.
That's right. In 2005, former students began publishing accounts of the abuse they experienced. So the White House Boys book you have, and then there's another one you're reading right now. So yes, it's not until they started telling about it later did anybody do anything.
That these grown men finally opened up.
Right. Beginning in 2008, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement investigated 32 unmarked graves on the Marianna campus in response to complaints lodged by former students. In 2010, the U.S. Department of Justice launched an investigation and found reasonable cause to believe a pattern of unconstitutional practices and violations of federal law had occurred. The school was closed in 2011. In 2011, the University of South Florida, and we are not in South Florida, this is North Florida Panhandle, so it took a school in the southern part of the state to do anything here, began conducting research that included excavations, exhumations, and using a forensics team, ground-penetrating radar, and archaeological test excavations to detect graves. During the course of its investigations, USF excavated 55 graves at the Marianna campus. In 2016, the Florida legislature approved funding for each child whose body was buried and exhumed for funeral, reinterment, and grave marker expenses. In 2017, lawmakers funded this memorial, a memorial at the Florida Capitol, reinterments, and grave markers in Jackson County and in Tallahassee. In 2017, the Florida legislature issued resolutions apologizing to the boys who were confined at both to the Marianna and Okeechobee campuses and their families for the wrongs they endured. Of course, your dad had been dead for 4 or 5 years at that point.
So he never got to know.
He never got the apology. This memorial, does it make you feel better? State of Florida, sorry for beating your father. This memorial is, yeah, exactly. This memorial is dedicated to honor the boys who were confined at the school and their families for wrongs committed against them, and to express the commitment of the state of Florida to ensuring that children placed in its care are protected from abuse and violations of fundamental human decency and morality. And again, the sculptor Frank Castelluccio.
This one I just can't. I mean, that just kills my heart.
I mean, it's hard. This is a hard memorial to look at here, especially when you have.
You know, I look at this and wonder, you know, is that how my daddy felt, or did he? I don't know.
Yeah, to you watching this video, you have no maybe personal connection to this, or maybe you do. But picture for a moment you're a parent, and for those of you who, you know, follow us at our website and whatever, you know, the trauma that is caused generationally. This is a sobering place, to be sure.
Especially like right now, it's raining here, and it's just so sad.
I wouldn't put this on my tourism brochure either, but at the same time, there are.
This is heartbreaking. Look, you see with the rain hanging from these faces, almost like tears.
But even though this isn't something you aspire to, get your Chamber of Commerce probably doesn't want to put this on the front of their come here and visit us brochure, and not to compare it in scope or even brutality to places like Auschwitz and concentration camps. At the same time, it is important that we remember places like this. It is important that these places remain and that they're known and talked about, because You know, as I said, I've been a police officer for 31 years. I can tell you all about brutality. I can tell you about brutality that the police have done over those 31 years. I can tell you about the brutality other people have done to each other that necessitated our involvement. People are terrible. Human beings can be awful, and we need to be reminded of that. Those who do not heed history are doomed to repeat it. That is a saying for a reason. In memory of the children who passed these doors, we acknowledge their tribulations and offer our hope that they have found some measure of peace. May this building stand as a reminder of the need to remain vigilant in protecting our children as we help to seek a brighter future. Moreover, we offer the reassurance that we are dedicated to serving and protecting the youth who enter this campus and helping them to transform their lives. The White House officially sealed by the Florida Department of Justice October 21st, 2008.
You know,
And again, we're watching you. Vandalism is public property is a crime. And there's a sign somewhere that said under 24 hour surveillance.
you know, I said that it's on the gate right
Yes,
there.
yes,
You know, I
cameras on the-
said that my daddy told me he was here, and that I know he was here from 59 to 62 for stealing a bicycle, and that the only thing I really know any more than that is the stories I heard of this place later on, and that daddy had told me to read the book. But daddy had a tattoo going down his arm that said Marianna. And I always thought when I was young, you know, until I asked one day, that it said marijuana and that it was spelled wrong because it was a prison tattoo. But it didn't. It was the name of this city. And so I know that this place had to have had such an impact on him for him to have branded it on his forearm.
Walk through here because I want you to look. I mean, because the remnants of the old sidewalk are still here. I mean, if you were these boys, this is the trek you would have took from the main hall here. I mean, the old sidewalk, they put a road over part of it, but right here going up in there, and you want to walk and look at the thing. The old sidewalk still remains, and this would have been the trek. They probably walked many of these boys out here to this White House to have endured unspeakable horror. It's infuriating. Yeah, it's like a lunchroom cafeteria or something.
Yeah. I guess this is where they ate and didn't get to enjoy their meals before they were beat.
There really should be some sort of like historic marker here, kind of explaining some of this stuff and telling it. They, you know, somebody has, a vandal obviously has knocked the glass out of that door at some point, and they haven't even bothered to, you know, put it back.
I wonder if you can go in there.
I wouldn't.
There's a chapel, which
You took some photos of.
there's another chapel. I've got a bunch of photos of a lot of the buildings that are falling in and become overtook with kudzu now. But yeah, that's pretty sad. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm assuming this was their cafeteria here. Okay, well, I'm gonna stop filming here and I'll take some more pictures as we go around.
Actually, zoom before you stop. Come on over to the right. Come on a little bit more. Stop right there. Zoom in. Can you zoom? Let's zoom right. Oh, I'm sorry. I may have messed that up. Come on into that pole right there. Right there's your camera. Come pan down a little bit. Or up rather. Right there. There's your camera. Maybe the state of Florida should have been watching them kids as close as they're watching us watch what they did to them kids.
Right. Then this would have never happened. This.